Hello, Sanford. You are listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West, and welcome to the Howler. Your Coyotes are number 16 in the nation, folks, as they're looking for another win and to continue their streak going against Akron this weekend. But first, let's talk about some recruiting situations going on. Matt Frank has been added, apparently, to Coach Wolf's board. This kid is a big talent. I'm talking Joe Irvin type talent. We've seen how Joe Irvin has played ever since he's gotten here, and this kid is just as good on the defensive line. He's at the end position, and he can do it all very, very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can get Matt Frank in here to see him start immediately, and there's a bunch of question marks as to why schools aren't looking his way. I don't know if it's off the field issues. I don't know if there's something somebody knows that Sanford doesn't. But either way, Matt Frank would be a huge contributor to that defensive line, especially if Joe Irvin decides to go pro after this season. Carlos Hunter, of course, still on the board. He is still looking highly at Houston, though. So, a couple of issues there for Sanford. Adam Gillette, though, the wide receiver out of Zanesville, Ohio, fully on board with Sanford right now. That is a great situation there. Middle linebacker Kevin Collier, expected to commit sometime soon. He's full go for Sanford from what we know, and it sounds like he'll be a Coyote come next season, which is some great depth at the middle linebacker spot. Jeffrey Little, the linebacker out of Tampa. It's really a fight between a number of schools right now. Sanford, I don't know where they really stand. From we've been hearing they're in the lead, but I'm not totally sure on that. And finally, Dwayne Jones-Carter has Sanford in the lead, apparently. He has thought about it and has now put Sanford in the lead, and that is a miracle, I think, for the young runner out of Philadelphia. Now, let's talk about Sam Wyatt, the guard who was highly recruited by Sanford. He is headed to Arkansas, so that's a little disappointing. But on the good front, Tyrone Justice, the strong safety, has committed to Sanford. So there is now a big-time threat at strong safety with Tyrone Justice joining that secondary. He is really a question mark right now. He's a solid tackler, but he can't hit as hard as some other guys currently on the roster, and he doesn't have the coverage skills of other players that are currently on the roster. We'll see how he works out during the offseason. That'll be a definite. Now, right now, the bowl projection for Sanford is to face Arkansas State in the GoDaddy.com Bowl. So this ought to be an interesting one if that stays put, but I don't see it just staying there that easily. Players of the week last week, Romero Wade for Ball State and Noah Wezinski for Miami of Ohio, respectively. Good day by both men, especially for Romero Wade, a forced fumble and an interception on the day. Big-time defensive plays going his way. Now let's talk award finalists, and there's really only one guy to talk about, and that's Otis Griffin. The man is up for Best Linebacker and the Nagurski. Two big awards looking the way of Otis Griffin. That is great. Or I'm sorry, it might have been the Bednarik. I don't have it here on my paperwork exactly what that award is. I do know best linebacker, though, is definitely something he is in the running for. Now, if you want to take a look at the conference standings, I mean, if you're a Sanford faithful, I don't think you're focusing too much on that, as Sanford is 6-0 in conference, and with only 2 games left in the regular season, I don't think there's a way Sanford's not in the MAC Conference Championship at this point. I can't think of a way, and I don't see a way that Sanford isn't playing in that MAC Conference title game. Now, if you want to take a look at something you should be looking at, that's the top 25 polls, in my opinion, because Sanford's currently ranked number 16 in the nation. I could easily see them, if they can win both games, they could be as high as number 10 going into the MAC title game. That would be enormous. Sanford going into the MAC title game number 10 in the nation. Think about that. They could be going into a bowl game within the top 10. And I would assume then you're talking Fiesta Bowl, Orange Bowl, something to that extent as a huge bowl game for Sanford. A huge opportunity and against big-time competition. But this weekend's matchups are as follows. Sanford head to Akron, of course. Ohio at Bowling Green. Buffalo at Eastern Michigan. Toledo at Kent State. Doesn't look good for the Flashes there. Central Michigan at Western Michigan. Good rivalry game there. And Northern Illinois at Miami of Ohio. So a couple of very fun matchups to watch this week, but we'll talk about the one that matters to the Sanford faithful here on Sanford Sports Radio, and that is the Akron game. Sanford, of course, the heavy favorites, seeing they've only lost one game to non-conference opponents, and they have been on fire as of late. Now for Akron, it's not looking too good for them. They do not have their number one receiver with them, which is a huge injury. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. One thing we can definitely talk about is the fact that both teams are on a winning streak. Akron riding a 3-game winning streak. I mean, that's fairly impressive. While Sanford, on the other hand, it's just a tad bit more than 3. How about we call it, I don't know, let's do the math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak. They're going to make it 9. I think most people would agree with that. Now, they can't get too overconfident. I know I'm coming off very confident here in today's edition of the Howler, but they can't get overconfident with this situation. They've got a tough opponent, and I think it's a team that if they don't play smart, could really upset them and surprise everybody. And let's talk about that team a bit. Cato Nelson, the quarterback. The last time these two teams faced off, Nelson was injured and they didn't get a chance to play him. So this is a guy they don't know anything about. He hasn't been the sharpest quarterback in the room, but he has done fairly well. 17-8 touchdown to interception ratio. So a lot of things look good for Cato Nelson. They like to run the ball a lot, so expect Nelson to be moving those feet. At defensive tackle, they'll have Brennan Williams. And he is a big weapon at D tackle. You can expect to see him really force pressure without forcing pressure. You could see him push offensive linemen back, and that may cause situations to really rile Tanner Patrick and force mistakes to be made. Now Akron will be without their right outside linebacker John Lacko, and that's going to be a huge loss for them. He's got 2 sacks on the season and is a big playmaker in that defense. Now they will not have Keyshawn Watson on the offensive side at wide receiver, so that is going to be a huge loss for this Akron team. Without Keyshawn Watson, I don't know what they exactly plan to do throwing the football. Now at cornerback, they have a dominant corner in Kyron Brown. He's got 4 interceptions on the season. 2 of them, I would assume, are the defensive touchdowns he has this year. I would assume those pick sixes. He also has yet to force a fumble like he has the past 3 seasons at Akron. We'll see if that happens this week or not. But it ought to be a fun one. I've got the Coyotes winning this one pretty handedly, folks. But nonetheless, the Zips will, I would think, bring a lot of fight to the Coyotes, especially in their house. So we will see you folks this weekend as the Sanford College Coyotes face the Akron Zips in some more big MAC play. Thank you, folks. We'll see you this week. Hello, Sanford. You are listening to Sanford Sports Radio. My name is Jonathan West, and it is game day here in Infocision Stadium. There we go. Sanford takes on the Akron Zips in a big MAC conference play. Now, they are looking to ride this winning streak. 8 total games so far they've won in a row. This will be number 9 if they can get the job done. I was very confident earlier this week in the Howler, and I'm still confident. I believe that Sanford has this game already in the bag. Akron is a good team, though. They cannot just sit down and expect a victory immediately. This Sanford team has to play their football, running, grinding it out, and winning by being efficient. You gotta hope it stays that way, and the defense has to continue upping their game as they have been. Because if they let their guard down, it turns into what week 3 against UConn was. It's not going to be a pretty sight here in Akron. And it is not going to look good for a lot of the people who have come here. From what I've heard, Adam Gillette has actually come here to the ball game, being an Ohio native, as we are underway. And we'll see if he's impressed here with the team. He also has a visit set up for Senior Day. That ought to be very interesting. As Patrick Jackson only with a 14-yard return there. So it's solid field position to begin here for Sanford as they start on the ground with Fleming, and he's going nowhere there. A loss of 2. Fleming's had a very good year, though. Almost double-digit touchdowns. I would expect it to hit that here today. 2nd and 12 from under center. They go back to Fleming, and he doesn't go anywhere again. He finds maybe 2 yards, but that's about it. Akron starting off well, stopping the running game of Sanford. As 3rd and 9, Patrick going deep and over the head of his intended target, Josh Williams. That's going to fall incomplete, and they'll have to punt early here. Akron's got a chance to return this one. That is Dixon, and Jaquavis Dixon with a 17-yard return. That is up past midfield, and that's giving great field position to Cato Nelson and this offense. 1st and 10 now, Nelson in the shotgun. As they go play action, that's a quick strike to Smith. That's going to be a 9-yard gain and nearly a first down, as that's a perfect first play for this Akron offense. As Nelson pitches it out to James Parker. And Parker goes down after the gain of 1. It will be enough for the first. I've got a feeling the no huddle, yes indeed, will continue. Parker gets the handoff. He's bottled up though. And that is a man we don't often see playing in the backfield. That is Sam Williams. He is very low on the cornerback depth chart. But he came down making the big play, and that's a stop for a loss of 5. 2nd and 15. Nelson looks to throw. No, he's going to run with it, taking off, finding room, and that'll be a 10-yard gain as he slides. 3rd and 5 coming up, though. This defense can get a stop here. Shotgun formations. The no huddle, of course, continues here for the Zips. 3rd and 5. Nelson to throw, setting up a screen. But look at that. Chasing him down. That is Kellen Herron. No gain for James Parker as Akron just booted it away back to Sanford as they start on the ground here with Claude Fleming on this drive. A 4-yard carry. They're looking to do some damage here, and I've got a feeling they'll continue to grind it out. But they have to get their passing game going to some extent, and that's the way to do it. As Fleming, 18 yards. He has been very efficient in the receiving game as of late. He had that big gain earlier in the year, and now he gets a nice 18-yard gain here in this contest. Handoff goes to Tyrone Jennings here on 1st down. It's an 8-yard gain as Jennings has seen his snaps deplete with how good Fleming has been at times, but he still plays a very big pivotal role here in this offense. As Claude Fleming, though, with an 11-yard run right up the gut. And it's runs like that they're going to keep this offense moving the chains. 1st and 10 is the Wildcat formations here. Tyrese Baker throwing to Bradford, and Antoine Bradford's got a 1st down and more. 16-yard gain. And that is exactly what you want to see out of this Wildcat. Not the cleanest throw by Baker by any means, but a great play there to Bradford, getting them a huge first down and nearly getting them to the red zone. As they're still in that Wildcat, they're going to run it this time, and Baker runs right into Patrick Smith, who was all ready for that. A loss of 3 on that run. 2nd and 13 in the pistol formation. Patrick went play action, but it didn't fool anybody. As down went Patrick, Josh Mooney was ready for him. This defense of Akron's has been running on all cylinders here on these last 2 plays. They have been on fire. 3rd and 24 now. As the defense chants are loud here in Akron. Patrick to throw. He connects with Costello, but he can't hold on. He loses the football. He had the first down. They'll have to settle for a long field goal, and that one falls short. Jackson Stone unable to hit it. As we do have some updates for you, Texas wins over West Virginia 21-18. The Longhorns take home their game. As we got 2 games currently going on, UCLA down to USC 10-7, and South Carolina has defeated Texas A&M 30-27. As now Akron back on offense, Cato Nelson and company looking to have a better drive here as Nelson's going to take off after not liking anything downfield. It's an 8-yard run, and that's going to start this no huddle up again. 2nd and 2 as the play comes in from the sideline. Nelson gonna take off, but look who was there. That is Deshaun Hollis, and he is having the best year of his young collegiate career. A phenomenal play there. 3rd and 7. Nelson out of the pistol. He's going to take off. He's spun down, though. Sacked. They're going to give that one to Justin Moss, the young defensive tackle. And he has played extremely well in his first year starting alongside Big Joe Irvin. There are some worries Irvin may go pro in the offseason, so Moss may be asked to do more next season possibly. As that's it for the first quarter of play, folks. It's all tied up at 0 apiece. No score on the board. We'll be back with more after this on the Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to the second quarter of play is just getting underway. Patrick looks to throw, and Williams can't hold on. That one falls incomplete. That is 2 drops now by 2 of the most sure-handed receivers on this team. As Fleming now back on the ground they go. A 1-yard gain, nothing much going there. They're going to have to throw it here, it looks like, on 3rd and 9. They're still under center as Patrick looks to throw, and he connects with Josh Williams. That's a 12-yard reception and a big first down, as that was a nice throw. It was low, so only Williams could get it. As the pistol means option for Sanford. That's going to be a 6-yard run for Tanner Patrick. He's trying to get that sack yardage back here. As 2nd and 4, handoff goes to Bradford. He's got open field, and he's brought down. He doesn't have killer speed, but for a fullback, 17 yards is going to be just fine on that run. A big first down for Sanford, and they are just inches away from the red zone. 1st and 10, Patrick to throw, and just over Josh Williams. He had an opportunity at him, but just overthrew, and I don't think Williams saw the football either. As Patrick just gets rid of the ball before he took a massive shot. That was a big hit on Patrick. 3rd and 10, they pitch it off to Fleming. Fleming has room around the outside, and that's going to be a 9-yard gain. He was so close, spun down just short. Sanford will take their points off the Jackson Stone field goal. It's 3-0 now as Stone gets them on the board. First and 10, Cato Nelson looks to throw here for Akron as Dixon can't hold on to it. That's going to be a drop. A lot of drops today on both sides now. It just must be one of those days for receivers. As Nelson to throw connects with Jaquavius Dixon this time. As that's going to be a 6-yard gain, setting up a manageable 3rd and 4 situation. 5 minutes remain here in the first half as Nelson looks to run. He's got the first down and more as he's brought down from behind by Dylan Trevor. It will be a 12-yard run though for Nelson as the no huddle begins again. First and 10 here. Nelson takes the snap and they'll go option again as Dylan Trevor once again on the tackle. This one a gain of 9, just short of the marker. Nelson and this offense have been really doing a good job of wearing down this Sanford defense, and really Cato Nelson's running ability is what's doing its damage as Nelson with another run, only a gain of 4, but it's more than enough for the first down. They only needed 1 yard. First and 10. And look at this, the handoff now goes to Parker, and I don't think the defense was expecting that. Bryant, the man that brought him down. That's going to be a 6-yard gain for Parker. We haven't seen Parker carry the ball much. 2nd and 4. Nelson takes the snap. He's looking to throw. No, he's going to roll out. He's got room. First down and more to around the 28-yard line. 14-yard run as Cato Nelson is really controlling this drive all on his own. As play action here now to the no huddle, and Nelson just falls back as he runs into his own tight end. That will be a loss of 6, and it will go down as a sack. 2nd and 16. Handoff goes to Bowser, and Adam Bowser is brought down after only a gain of 2. He couldn't find much running room there. 3rd and 13. You got to imagine they need to throw the football here. As Cato just taking his time out of the shotgun. He'll take the snap. Looks to throw for the screen. That's Bowser. Good blocks in front of him. And he will be short, brought down by Otis Griffin. 4th and 2. The offense still out on the field. Nelson looks to take off. And he is stopped. Just short of the marker. Turnover on downs. It is Sanford football. The Coyotes with an opportunity maybe even to score a little bit more here before halftime. 2:25 remains as play action here. And look at that. Rob Thomas with a magical catch there diving down. That's an 11-yard gain. Patrick rolling out again, trying to avoid any pressure. That's going to be a big hit, laying out Tanner Patrick. 5-yard gain though. As Patrick, once again, controlling this offense. He's going to check himself a bit, move out of the pocket, and gain 14 on that throw to Deron Costello. This offense is working extremely well right now. They got to keep this up as they go to the screen. Good block there. Laying out the defender is 15-10 down to around the 8-yard line. Claude Fleming with amazing blocks in front of them. You have to give the offensive line a ton of credit for that one. But Fleming with a 48-yard screen pass all the way down to the 8-yard line. 1st and goal, Patrick pitches out to Tyrone Jennings, and he's going to speed his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Sanford, as they now take a 2-possession lead here with 46 seconds left in the half. We've got another update for you from Western Michigan. It's all tied up 21 apiece as halftime is just about there in the Battle of Michigan between Central and Western. It's running out of time for Nelson now here in the half as he's going to go down. That was Big Joe Irvin that got there. Or no, they're going to give it to Justin Moss. Indeed, they're showing the replay. I thought it was Irvin that got there. Moss is the one who did get there. So 2 sacks for Justin Moss today. Good showing by that young man. As 2nd and 15 just ends up in a 3-yard reception for James Parker. That will take us to halftime. It's all Sanford, 10-0 as we get ready for the third quarter of play. We'll be back with more after this. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half here as Cato Nelson and company on the field first, as that's going to fall incomplete. Good coverage against the man in the flats. 2nd and 10 now as Nelson looks to get the job done, but he's going to go down to Sean Hollis on that sack, once again having a phenomenal year. 3rd and 11. Nelson looks to throw, setting up that screen for Parker. But look at that. That was Hollis who slowed him down. Keon Cutler finished the job. Good teamwork there. But Deshaun Hollis, folks, the hustle is there this year. As a jet sweep on offense to Tremaine Dingle. This is arguably the best jet sweep this team has ever run. A gain of 7 yards for Dingle, as it will bring up 2nd and 3. Patrick dropping back, looks to throw. Hooks up with Rob Thomas over the middle. That is a first down of 26 yards. Rob Thomas has been finding the football as of late. He's become one of the top targets now, and that really happened when Josh Williams was suspended. But now he's really finding his groove here late in the season, and it's just helping immensely with this offense as Patrick takes off. On first down, it's a gain of 8 as he gets brought down. 2nd and 2 in the full house formation. Patrick the throw. He connects with Williams, and he'll be down at around the 3-yard line. Another big first down here for Sanford. First real goal line situation here for Sanford today as they'll go play action. Patrick connects with Bradford, and he is hit hard at about the 1-yard line. A huge hit stopping Antoine Bradford from getting in the end zone. As the hit is just tough to watch, man. Bradford took a big shot. 2nd and goal, and it's easy as pie when you got Claude Fleming to just run that one right in. Touchdown Sanford, as they now go up 3 possessions as pending the extra point. It is 16-0. 1st and 10 here as Akron tries to put some points on the board at this point. James Parker finding only 2 yards on that rush. The no huddle though continues here for Akron. 2nd and 8 as Nelson takes the snap. And he connects with McConnell, and that's going to be a 17-yard reception. Jonathan McConnell's first reception of the day over the middle. So we'll see if that continues, as that should give McConnell some momentum going forward, as Rocky Smith can't find anything on that screen pass they wanted, only a gain of 1. 2nd and 9 as the no huddle continues, and the play came in as Nelson to throw again. Wide open, Rocky Smith. So Jaquavius Davis, but that reception was made by Rocky Smith. He was left wide open. And they are driving now with the zips as Parker finds another gain of 2. Inch by inch, he's gaining yards, but now he's down on the turf. 2nd and 8. From what we know right now, Parker may not be returning. They're thinking maybe concussion here early on, as Adam Bowser gained 6 on that run. 3rd and 2 here as the handoff goes to Adam Bowser. He's got the first down. That's going to be enough. 7 yards, and Akron is looking like they're going to put points on the board. 1st and 10. Nelson takes off on the power option, and he's got room. That is a 9-yard gain, as Cato Nelson has really been the facilitator of this offense today. 2nd and 1. Nelson connects with McConnell. He lost the football though. Griffin on top of it. And that's going to be a touchback. That is a fumble recovered by Otis Griffin. That is huge. Akron right there. McConnell was in the end zone. And wait a minute though. That might get, yes indeed, it's getting reviewed here. I was about to say there on that last look, to me it did look like maybe. And indeed I'm seeing the replays here up in the booth, and it is certainly not a fumble. His knee was clearly down. Half his body was down really before that ball came out. And it did get reversed, folks. 1st and goal here. Handoff goes to Bowser. Touchdown Akron. Well, there goes the shutout here for Sanford. But nonetheless, they are still on top by 2 scores. The touchdown, though, will cut in to that Coyote lead as a missed extra point. You don't see that often. 1st and 10 here now as Tanner Patrick trying to get things going, but a fumble here on the option. Luckily picked up by Fleming. That'll be a loss of 3. 2nd and 13 coming up. That is one of the scariest situations we've seen this game, as Fleming had to really maneuver his way back there quickly to get that football. 2nd and 13. Patrick to throw, and over the middle he wanted Costello, but picked off by Morgan. That's the first turnover of the day for either side, and that is huge because now Akron has it with great field position and all the momentum. Cato Nelson in the shotgun here. Akron with a big chance in front of him as Nelson looks to throw, but there's Big Joe! Big Joe Irvin with the sack. That is number 10 on the season, folks. He has hit double digits for the first time in his career in his sack total. 2nd and 18 here as Nelson still out of the shotgun. He's looking to throw. Hooks up with Adam Bowser as that's going to be a gain of around 7 on the check down. 3rd and 11 coming up here. The defense needs a stop here as Nelson takes the snap. He's looking to throw. Going deep. It's intercepted. Dustin Jordan. I believe that is pick number 5 on the year. 5 interceptions by Dustin Jordan this year. He has had a phenomenal season. 1st and 10. Handoff goes to Claude Fleming, and Fleming can only get 1 yard out of that. I don't think anybody's going to complain, though, about that one bit. 2nd and 9 as we inch closer to the end of the 3rd quarter. As Fleming, look at that, fighting through one would-be tackler. Those arm tackles weren't going to work on him as he's able to take it for a big 1st down. A nice hole made for him to run through, and then it's all Claude Fleming at that point, as that takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Sanford up 17-6 over Akron. Final quarter of play coming up right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Sanford Sports Radio. I'm Jonathan West, and it is huge here. Almost called myself Adam West. I am sadly not famous, nor am I the man who formerly played Batman. As a big 1st down there for Sanford on the ground for Patrick, as Tyrone Jennings can't get anything on that carry. Jason McBride, the man on the tackle. 2nd and 11 here as Tyrese Baker tries to take off with it, but a loss of 2. They have been all over Baker when he tries to take off out of the Wildcat. You got to give it to Akron. They've been doing a good job of that. Patrick now looks to make a play, but he goes down. A huge sack for Akron. That is Brennan Williams. We covered him in the Howler, and I told you, he can make a lot of pressure happen. That is sack number 3.5 for him. First and 10 here now for Akron as they have an opportunity in front of them. And that is Broussard, and that's going to be a 7-yarder reception. As the no-huddle continues here for Akron, 2nd and 3. Still in that shotgun formation as the pressure was coming in quick, and he was able to get that ball to David Broussard faster than the pressure could get there. A gain of 10 and another first down. Nelson to throw again, and he connects with Jaquavius Dixon. 10-yard reception. As this offense is now flowing for the Zips. Nelson looks to throw again. No, he's going to take off, but he's caught. Big Joe. Sack number 11 on the year. So 2 sacks by both Big Joe Irvin and Justin Moss today. It's been a good day for both of those big men. 2nd and 14, Nelson looks to run again, and Big Joe just missed getting another tackle on the day as a huge hit there on Nelson. I believe Daniel Clemens the one that threw the hit. 3rd and 6. Nelson looks to throw, and that's McConnell again, and McConnell with a first down. Jonathan McConnell has become a big target here and a trustworthy guy to get a first down now for Akron. They've got to shut him down quick. As Nelson goes option, he's slowed down by Clemens, lost the football. He was hit and lost the football by Otis Griffin as that's recovered by Dylan Trevor. Big play there by the middle linebacker, Otis Griffin, who really didn't start the year playing his best football. But as the year has gone on, he has looked better and better and now is looking like the captain of this defense that they wanted him to be at the beginning of the year. Handoff goes to Fleming here on first down. It's a 10-yard gain and enough for the first. Claude Fleming started out not so hot this game. Now he's got 53 yards, 5.3 per carry. Handoff goes to Tyrone Jennings now, as that's going to be a gain of 4. The team as a whole has passed the century mark on the ground today. 2nd and 6, play action here for Patrick. He'll roll out, and he's going to roll out all the way to a 7-yard gain down at around the 40, I believe that's 45, 43-yard line. As Fleming gets the handoff, that's a 3-yard gain down to around the 50. 2nd and 7, I formation here. Handoff goes to Fleming. He's got a couple blocks, but can't get too far around the outside. That's a gain of 5. As Sanford is continuing to drive, but killing the clock by keeping that ball on the ground. 3rd and 2. A first down nearly seals it as that's Tyrone Jennings, 11 yards. They need 1 first down. If they can kill these Akron timeouts, it's all over, folks. As Fleming can't go anywhere, though, off the pitch. That is a 3-yard loss. 2nd and 13. 1 first down ends it. Option for Patrick. He's got room. That's a first down. Slides safely. This game is over. That ends this ball game as Tanner Patrick and company will take their 9th straight win. You heard me right, folks. 9 straight wins. As that will give them 10 wins on the season. The first time this team has seen 10 wins in the regular season. This is huge. Sanford has been on fire as of late, and if they continue this, we could see them take on maybe an Oklahoma in a bowl game, and we could see them maybe even pull off another big upset like they did against Auburn earlier this year. It's going to be fun to watch not only next week in Senior Day, but the MAC Conference game, and of course, bowl time. When it comes to the bowl game this year, it's gonna be a fun one. I'm certain about that one. As once again, your final, Sanford 17, Akron 6. Thank you, folks, for listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I've been Jonathan West, and we will see you next week for more Sanford College football.